Hi guys, I'm Indy and I will be sharing with you my oral presentation. I did my I did my research paper on motherhood in passing by Nella Larson, and I approached this by analyzing the two characters, Claire and Irene. I compared and contrasted them and found that while their parenting styles are vastly different, they are actually driven by their own selfish motives. And I will let you guys know what I found about that later on in this presentation. In order to present my findings, I had to explore why Claire is emotionally unavailable for her daughter. And I also examined Irene's motives and questioned her good mom status because I actually think that they are about equal in the level of good parenting. And lastly, I felt like I had to consider what it was like to be Black in the 1920s, because I think that it heavily relates to the decisions that the two mothers made within the context of motherhood. So I chose this topic because I really enjoyed reading the book Passing. And I'm also like, I've always been fascinated by the dynamics between mothers and their children, not just in fictional worlds, but in real life. And I really wanted to take a deeper look into why Claire and Irene act the way that they do. And so I came to the conclusion that I should just write a paper on it. And lastly, I think that it is very important to learn more about how individuals from different backgrounds navigate our world. And I think that we can learn a lot from fictional characters. And for example, like Irene and Claire and how they navigated being Black in Harlem in the 1920s. My findings. So, firstly, I wanted to investigate the psychology of Claire's character because I wanted to have a deeper understanding of why she acted the way that she does, specifically towards her daughter. And I found that children who experience trauma in childhood, and for those of you guys who don't know, Claire had an abusive father, and then once her father passed away, she was sent to live with her extremely racist aunts who basically shamed Claire out of any Black pride that she may have. So, anyway, children who experience that kind of trauma as children tend to um, tend to develop guilt and sadness around their trauma. And I've also found that in trauma and its impact on children, um, that children who experience trauma may also develop narcissistic tendencies in adulthood to compensate for the lack of attention that they received as children, which could also explain why Claire basically really only cares about herself. Now, for what I found for Irene's character, in O'Sullivan's Black Motherhood and Freedom in Nella Larson's Passing, she explores the pressures of being a Black woman in the 1920s. And a quote from this article says, "Black motherhood provides the social security and conformity to that role protects her, Irene, while also working to define her, again, Irene." And basically what O'Sullivan is trying to say in her article is that Irene is so fixated on being this perfect Black mother that she overlooks what the core values of being a mother is, which is caring about her children and loving her family. And so Irene puts on this overly perfect facade, which gets in the way of actually developing a relationship with her children. Additionally, in William's article, I found that Irene and her husband don't actually have much of a relationship, which can take a major toll on children. And so I think that Irene and her husband's lack of maturity and like inability to navigate their relationship played a huge role in the selfishness of Irene, because she was too selfish to split up with her husband or try to work on things, and instead just made her children the forefront of all of their problems and ignored the problems with her husband. In conclusion, I learned a lot about Nella Larson, the time period, and just generally how to analyze characters through writing this research paper. And I hope that you all have learned at least my views on Nella Larson's characters, Irene and Claire. Thanks for watching.